Can you believe this is the desert? I've never seen it so green. And in my conversations with neighbors who have been here a long time, they've never seen it this green either. Morning, guys. I know it's been a while, and in preparation for our live tomorrow, I thought I'd give you a quick walk around so you can see what's happened here over the past couple weeks. I did a quick post yesterday showing the preparation for our back deck. Our back deck is going to be 16 feet wide and 10 feet coming from the house out. The lumber is scheduled for delivery tomorrow. So using the tractor with the box blade and the front loader, I got this smoothed out, leveled out, and prepared for the upcoming posts. Currently, Yvonne is in California. She's helping out a friend of hers. And so I'm going to be here for another 8 days or so by myself. Well, me and Chloe. Anyways, let me just give you a quick walk around. Nothing too much to report. Everything in this tent is about the same. It's starting to show signs of deterioration. This is a replacement cover, and you know, the additional tarp over the top has helped quite a bit, but the areas that have been exposed directly to the sun, you can tell they're getting a little brittle. Anyways, let's head down to the major project that I completed without making a video. And this is what we're dubbing the tractor corral. So we cleared out this opening here a little bit. And then before installing the tent using the tractor, I was able to level off a pad and get it prepared for this tent. The tent is a Shelter Logic. It's 12 feet wide, 13 feet tall, and 20 feet long. Ran about $580 from Home Depot, and the distance from the ground to the top of the door is 8 feet. Now the problem is the distance from the ground to the top of the canopy of our tractor is 8 feet. So to solve that problem and to give it a little additional height, I went out and got railroad ties and used railroad ties as a stem wall for the entire tent. The railroad ties are secured to the ground using 3-foot pieces of rebar. Let me go inside, maybe here's one I can show you real quick. Using that same technique that I used in the house, I drilled a hole through the railroad tie and I made a split spike out of 3-foot rebar and a washer and secured that to the ground. And then what I did was I used 5-inch, I think they were 5-inch structural screws, timber locks, you can see it right there, and I toenailed those together. And that created a nice solid foundation for the tent. And what was nice is now the tent, using 4-inch lag screws, I was able to secure that right to the railroad tie. If this had been directly on the ground, there would have just been spikes going into the sand. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. The one thing about this tent is the back wall has no door. And we noticed that during rainstorms and when the wind was really blowing, this would really rock back and forth. So to try to mitigate that, what I did was I got a 16-foot 2x4 and I cut it to the appropriate width. And then I secured the 2x4 to the frame of the tent using Simpson strong tie chain link fence brackets. I had to modify them a little, had to bend them out and change the shape of them a little bit, but they worked fantastic. They were a little bit big for the frame, so you can see right here a piece of flexible rubber waterline that I had laying around, and I was able to make sort of a, I don't know what the word is, I was able to make a slip collar to go over that pipe, and then that would give me the appropriate diameter for the bracket. And once that was secured, I came along, stapled it, and then restapled it again using the cap staples that we used on our roof. And now, instead of this thing swaying back and forth in the wind, it's got a little bit of movement to it because it's a 14-foot wide 2x4, but it holds up really nicely. Now you may be wondering, what about that big opening in the back? I don't care. If rain drives in underneath that little bit of section right there, I really don't care. The main purpose of this tent is to keep the sun off of the tractor and to keep the majority of the rain out of here. And for that, it's doing a great job. There weren't too many options available to us just because of the height of the canopy. So this one turned out really well. Now the door is a whole nother story. Let me come outside and show you the problem we're having with the door. The door is a roll-up door, and it's supposed to use a Roman shade type mechanism where you pull on strings and it rolls up, just because of the height of it. And in order to secure that Roman shade, the manufacturer put 2 grommets in the top piece of the tent cover, and you're supposed to use those grommets. Well, those grommets are supposed to be symmetrical. There's supposed to be one here and one there, and instead, it's hard to see, but there's one here and there's one there. So they were installed at the manufacturer incorrectly, and as a result, we couldn't use that apparatus, or that mechanism, I should say. The other thing is that one of the zippers here on this left-hand side was sewn in totally crooked. I mean, in a big S shape, and it caused an undue amount of stress on the zipper when you zipped it closed. So I took some pictures and I contacted Shelter Logic, and they really do have good customer service. They understood the situation, and they sent out a replacement cover. We were originally going to build a straw bale type structure out here, but this was just a lot quicker and really ended up being less expensive. And the location we chose, I was also concerned that this thing is so huge, and the location we chose actually is really well protected. It's got trees all around it, which is kind of why we're calling it the corral. And these trees also offer a little bit of wind buffer because the wind actually does come from this direction that we're facing right now. I'm just leaving the door rolled up. It's secured with clamps at the top, and it's fine. I mean, right now we've had driving rains, and like I said, if the back of the tractor gets a little wet, it doesn't bother me. Main thing was the sun. Now, the one thing I do like about this is there's these additional supports going across, adding some structural integrity to the frame, and that's also going to give me an area where I can do a little extra storage. I'm thinking that I can take 2 of these bays and cover it with plywood, secure it with some pipe clamps or pipe strapping, and then have an area, not for heavy items, but for lightweight items, just to get them up and out of the way. So after the tent was installed, I needed to come along and secure the flap around the outside edge. Now typically this flap lays down right on the ground and you can just backfill up against it, this portion right here. But obviously being on the railroad ties, that's not possible. So again, I came along here with the cap stapler and puts cap staples in every 12 inches. We had good luck with these cap staples holding the underlayment on our roof during the construction of the roof, and so I figured it's probably going to work well here. Here's a picture of what the tent looks like from the back. And again, that little bit of opening at the bottom doesn't bother me one bit. I ended up clearing out this area over here, and this is going to be just the location for our tractor implements. We have we got a set of forks, So you remove the front loader from the tractor and you can turn it into a forklift, and this has already turned out to be a fantastic little item. And the forks, these are 48-inch tines, and for a lot of people who work in wooded areas, that may be a little long. For our open area, the longer the better. I was able to fit, 4 or 5 railroad ties on it at one time for moving it around, and it's going to help a lot when it comes to moving lumber for the rest of the construction. I've been using the tractor a lot to really just kind of try to get the property in shape, and this is now heading toward the furthest, most eastern portion of the property. And as you can see, I was able to use the tractor with the box blade and really grade in some nice pathways all along here. And it's really helping us define the property and making for easy access with the tractor. And it just looks nice. So today I'm going to get started with the layout of the deck. I'm going to try to get as much done as I can before Yvonne returns home. The outside coat of plaster is finished. We've just kept the protective plastic up the entire time. And let me take you inside real quick. There isn't a whole lot to report inside, but I'll give you a look. Okay, here we have all of our bottle bricks cleaned and ready for installation, and those are going to go into, and those bottle bricks are going to be installed in that triangular area right up there. And I was at the hardware store the other day, and I actually found new construction electrical boxes. These have been almost impossible to find. I haven't, in fact, in 4 months, I didn't find any. And I was able to find at our local Ace Hardware. I bought them all. They had 14 of them. And then when I was down at Lowe's, they had probably about 30 or 40, and I bought an additional 10. I don't even know if that's enough. I don't even know the count of how many boxes we'll need in the house. But it's enough to get us started. And that's all I got to report. So anyways, the live is going to be on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Our time, which is Arizona time, which is also Pacific Standard Time as far as I know. I think we're on California time right now. The rest of the country changes clocks. We don't. Anyways, that's it, guys. I will see you at the live.